Right now, more than half of American shoppers are using a payment method that never shows up on their credit report and never checks if they can actually afford it. It's called Buy Now, Pay Later, and it's quietly rebuilding the same machine that crashed the economy in 2008. It looks harmless. 4 easy payments, 0 interest, approved in seconds. But underneath that friendly interface is a multi-billion-dollar lending industry that figured out how to make debt feel like it isn't debt at all. To understand how we got here, we need to go back to the layaway counter and follow how a 40-year-old idea got rebuilt by Silicon Valley into one of the fastest-growing debt products in history. Layaway worked like this. You paid for an item slowly, in installments, before you ever took it home. Buy Now, Pay Later flips that completely. You take the product home today, and the debt follows you out the door. Here's how it actually works. A company like Klarna or Affirm pays the merchant in full, up front. You repay that company over a few weeks, usually interest-free, in 4 installments. Simple enough, until you realize who's really paying for it. Retailers pay these companies a fee of up to 7% per transaction, far more than a credit card swipe. They eat that cost willingly, because shoppers using Buy Now, Pay Later spend 45% more per order than everyone else. And because most of these loans never get reported to the credit bureaus, none of it shows up on your credit report. You could be juggling 5 of these loans at once, and on paper, you'd look completely debt-free. That's the trick. Breaking a single purchase into 4 small numbers makes it feel smaller than it is. $25 feels like nothing. $100 makes you pause. The price didn't change. Only how your brain processes it did. And nothing stops you from doing this everywhere. Groceries on one app, sneakers on another, a flight on a third. By the end of the month, dozens of small, invisible payments are quietly draining a paycheck that hasn't even arrived yet. Surveys show a growing share of users are now relying on these apps just to afford groceries and everyday bills, not just splurges. For a lot of households, Buy Now, Pay Later has quietly become a survival tool, not a convenience, and the cracks are already showing. Missed payments on Buy Now, Pay Later loans have been climbing year over year, with late fees and bank overdrafts piling on top of debt that was marketed as completely risk-free. Sound familiar? In the run-up to 2008, lenders handed out mortgages without checking if people could repay them, then sold that risk off to investors. Buy Now, Pay Later runs on a strikingly similar playbook, just with smaller price tags. These companies don't want to hold all that risk themselves, so they bundle thousands of these small loans together and sell them to investors as bonds. The exact same financial trick that turned a housing slump into a global crash. Approval takes seconds because there's barely a credit check at all. No proof of income, no real verification. Just enough friction removed that saying yes feels easier than saying no. And even when borrowers fall behind, the company still wins. Late fees, interest on missed installments, and debt collection all become new revenue streams, turning a customer's bad month into someone else's profit margin. Take a single parent juggling 5 active Buy Now, Pay Later plans across 4 different apps, just to cover groceries, school supplies, and a broken washing machine. Individually, each payment feels manageable. Together, they're a debt spiral with no single bill to point to. Unlike credit cards, most Buy Now, Pay Later loans fall into a regulatory blind spot. There are no standardized disclosures, no consistent reporting requirements, and regulators are only now racing to catch up to an industry with tens of millions of users. Multiply this across tens of millions of users, and you get an enormous, largely invisible layer of consumer debt sitting just underneath the official numbers. Debt that doesn't show up until the moment it actually breaks. None of this means Buy Now, Pay Later is automatically a trap. Used deliberately, for one planned purchase, it can be a genuinely useful tool. The danger starts the moment it becomes a habit instead of a decision. The companies behind these apps are betting that most people won't notice the difference until it's too late. Now you have. So you get to decide which side of that bet you're on. If this breakdown was useful, subscribe for more.